All right, welcome to another episode of the Canucks Chatter podcast. I'm Rafal. That's Victor. Another week, another up and down Vancouver Canucks week, as it always is. Shocker. We're recording this fresh off of the 5-2 victory over the St. Louis Blues. So this actually marks the first time the Canucks have won 2 games in a row since December 1st. Which is a long time, which is kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, last year. But I mean, it's been almost 2 months. I just almost forgot that. I was like, wow, it's been that long. But that's a good thing, right? Winning games.
Consistently inconsistent, this team.
Yeah. We could talk about the other week, and I mean, there's so much news, obviously, that kind of has passed this. Just kind of snowballing and getting bigger. But let's start with this game, just because it's kind of just happened or fresh with it. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the game?
Who are these guys? 2 back-to-back good games. They played a really good game, start to finish. This was as close to a 60-minute game as you can get from them. They protected the guts of the ice like they wanted to. Their star players showed up. Quinn Hughes continues to be Quinn Hughes. That pass to set up the first goal.
Great pass under the skates.
Mario Lemieux-like. That was just gorgeous, the decision. And he was all over tonight. And again, I think we've run out of words, and now we're just in awe. I don't know if we deserve to have Quinn Hughes. He's so good.
Yeah, I mean, without him, they're probably down the
Buffalo
standings.
Bad.
Yeah, could
Chicago
be
bad.
Yeah, I thought they played with speed and pace. I thought, I mean, they strung together two good games, and it's been a while since that's happened. Obviously, beating the Washington Capitals, who are, I think they're the points wise, they're the best team in the NHL.
Yeah, I still think so.
I don't know if I'd call them the best team in the NHL, but they're up there in terms of like their play this year.
They're this year's Vancouver Canucks from last year.
True. That's a really good analogy. It is. Yeah. So that means next year it's not going to go well for them. Is that what we're saying?
Could be.
Yeah. I on the other side, just looking at it was a lot of Vancouver's doing, but looking at St. Louis Blues, it was like you can see why they're a team that's not going to make the playoffs. There's like moments where they can sort of try to play their style, but I don't know if you caught the first intermission interview with Braden Shen. Did you happen to catch it?
I missed that part.
That was really telling to what's the team's kind of going through and how they're not gelling. I mean, he basically was asked, kind of paraphrasing, how did that fight transpire after, the fight with JT Miller? And he just felt like, he needed to get his team going, get a spark going. He's like, unfortunately, though, it didn't work. We got 2 goals against. We got outshot. It didn't work. He's basically later on went to say, like, some guys, like we gotta fight for each other. Some guys are not interested in doing that, and we need everybody. And like just basically calling out his team. And then second period, they, not much changes for them, and you can see Jim Montgomery, the coach, is just he looked pissed on the bench, and you can see why. It's like Vancouver was the better team, faster, but just the mistakes.
I'm hoping this team doesn't make him relapse, because Vancouver made him look bad, and they didn't help themselves out either.
Yeah.
Bigger concern. I don't care about the Blues, but Jordan Binnington again looks. I don't know if just Vancouver always beats him, but again, if he's going to be team kind of starting goalie, especially when Logan Thompson is clearly the best Canadian goalie.
Now he is, yeah.
Here right now, he's not even on the team.
Yeah. He kind of went
at least
hotter.
Colton Parayko looks okay out there.
He looks good. Like there's a couple of St. Louis Blues you can kind of look at if you just, looking at. I mean, he scored his 11th goal this year?
Yeah,
Rico?
I can't remember the exact total, but it's a good total. But
yeah, it's a good total. Like, he's playing good.
I, for one, didn't think Parayko should be on this team, but hey, if he's going to prove himself to make it, albeit, I would rather have him than if he's better than Evan Bouchard. Good for it. Because we all know Bouchard's defensive struggles. That's been magnified where we don't get to see much of Colton Parayko. We know he's got a big shot and a big body, but tonight he looked like he belonged in Canada's top six. Now that Pietrangelo is out, could he move up? Or maybe if Drew Doughty is named on the team and starts to perform, does he take over that sixth spot on the right side?
Is Doughty healthy?
He'll be back in this week.
Yeah, that's hard to go right into that tournament, especially when you don't know how he's. I don't know. That'd be a tough one to sell for me.
Anytime Drew Doughty gets doubted, he proves his worth.
True. Yeah.
His rookie year, he was good enough. He was great. Hey, like, why are you bringing this 20-year-old to the Winter Olympics? Ended up being on the top pair with Duncan and Keith and excelling.
Yeah. That decision's to be made. I mean, the tournament's coming up here in just a couple weeks, so that'll be fun, interesting, something different that we haven't been. I mean, the last time we saw, I guess, was the what was that called?
2014 Olympics.
It's the 2014 Olympics, but they had that other tournament.
World Cup.
The World Cup of hockey.
That best on best when
well, I mean,
North America and Team Europe are rolling around.
But I mean, that's sort of like how I sort of see this tournament similar to that. This isn't really like Olympics to me. It's like you got 4 countries. That's it, and like it's
it's close to the best on best though. Every team's bringing their best players.
For sure, but I mean, there's so many players that are not, obviously Russia we know isn't playing.
Or best on players. You're not bringing everyone. It's still best on best.
Yeah, it's still best on best. But yeah, but anyway,
someone like McKinnon and McDavid weren't allowed on the main Team Canada team.
Yeah,
they were too young.
Too young. That was still that was still fun to watch, and I'm sure this one will be fun to watch as well. Entertaining. Hopefully, no injuries. So back to the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, so two big wins. After 2 disappointing losses. I mean, that's the kind of the story of their season. It goes up and down. Yeah, they stunk against Buffalo. Edmonton, just was the much better team. Then they kind of turned it around. I wonder if that's some of these. I mean, I might as well get into the trade talk because that's that's kind of.
I do want to go to that Washington game. They played so well in that game.
Yeah, they did.
They deserved everything they got out of that. And a save of the year candidate by Ryan Lindgren. He looked like a shortstop out there making that diving save. He's robbing PDG of at least extra bases there.
Yeah.
Just diving around. That was a great save.
Yeah, that was shades of that. Was it Ryan Miller? Well, there's an empty net.
Ryan Miller against Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Shades of that. Yeah, great save. Good win.
Quinn Hughes was dominant in that game as well.
Yeah.
He's showing East Coasters. Maybe we should start watching this guy more.
Yeah, no, they 2 bad games, 2 good games. It's like, the only thing that's lacking is that consistency. It's that's the NHL. It's hard, right? That's why a lot of the teams that are, in the middle or they're towards the bottom, they can't find the consistency. They can play good games, bad games.
You never want to be in the mushy middle.
Yeah.
That's the worst place to be.
But with this win, Vancouver's now 1 point back of Calgary for the last playoff spot. But Calgary does have a game in hand, so we'll have to see. Is Calgary playing today?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. Right? Probably tomorrow.
Only San Jose, Pittsburgh is left tonight.
Yeah, so Calgary's facing the Capitals tomorrow. So, if they lose, then Canucks are that much closer.
Caps. Yeah. Ovi scores 20 goals and breaks the record.
How many games do they have left in about 30? 31
30. They posted that on the socials today.
I'm just thinking about the Capitals too.
With 2 words, I'm back.
Yeah. All right. So let's. I guess. I mean, we don't need to go into length about every game this past week. Bad games, good games.
The less said about Vincent Desharnais is good.
Yeah. Actually, I will say one thing about today's game. Notice Tyler Myers in a positive way. He played a great game. Good game.
He he should be suspended more often if it's going to come out like that all the time.
Yeah, maybe he just rested and got his legs there or
Yeah.
something. But he was
Yeah,
made smart plays. He kept his feet moving, and yeah.
And maybe Vancouver should release a statement. They did release a 2-word statement, so that cleared up a lot of things. We're behind Tyler Myers on this. He's back.
Yeah, so maybe next game he'll get suspended, and then 3 games later we'll have another great performance by him that helps them win the game. Yeah, I thought he did well, and again Garland was noticeable. Hughes as well, and Lankinen made a lot of. St. Louis wasn't dangerous all the time, but when they did get a couple of chances, he was there and made some big saves.
Kevin was Kevin. I think he should get a run of starts here. And
I think so.
I hate to say it, but I think Demko's got to be relegated to backup status for now. Now they're trying to get him going, but Kevin's still playing well right now, and Demko's still working out the kinks. This is his preseason and training camp. So, and it comes at a tough part of the schedule, but thankfully they can ease him in, keep putting him in at good times, and give Kevin a rest. But Kevin is not wanting to give up his crease right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially with these games, like you just said, how important they are. Like they need to get points, right? And you don't want to, if this is early in the season and he's coming back from injury, maybe you try to give him some games. But right now, you need to go with the goalie that's going to give you the best chance to win, and that's Lankinen. There's no question about it. He's been the better goalie, and Demko, maybe you sit him for a little bit until there's a back-to-back or a tough schedule, and with the tournament coming up, maybe he doesn't, he maybe plays 1 game till then. But there you go with Lankinen. Okay, so let's get into the trade talk. So we know that Rantanen traded from Colorado Avalanche to the Carolina Hurricanes. Shocker of a trade. I mean, that's a huge trade that we haven't seen.
Didn't see that coming.
No, didn't see it coming either. Colorado felt they couldn't sign him, couldn't get to his number. They couldn't agree on whatnot. The cap hit, and boom, he's gone. They made a decision, and big trade. And the interesting thing as we know from the Canucks perspective, is that Carolina was in talks with Vancouver around Pettersson. The deal never materialized. Yeah. Well, they said that apparently from there's a couple. I think Rick Dhaliwal might have said it, but also
they were in on Pettersson, but they were talking about Miller too.
They were talking about Miller, but I think just before that day or the day before where the trade went down, it was about Pettersson more. Because I mean, obviously, if you're gonna give up more assets for Pettersson than you would JT Miller, like just age and
Don't listen to him, New York Rangers. Do not listen to this man. You want to give up everything for him.
And they're not going to listen to us anyway.
New Jersey Devils, don't listen to the NHL teams. Don't listen to him. You give up everything for JT.
No, you listen to me. I know we know what's best. No.
No. You give up everything for JT Miller.
So, it's. Let me ask you this question. Where does your head fall on all this? Do you think they should make a deal? They got to keep these guys. They got to trade one of these guys. They got to trade both, or they got to trade a bunch. And there's only a couple people like Quinn Hughes and whatnot that they can't trade. Where do you stand on all this right now?
One guy should not be traded, and that's Quinn Hughes. Doesn't matter what you offer me if I'm general manager, he's untouchable. But as far as Pettersson and Miller, either they both go or just Miller. Pettersson, this 26-year-old 100-point guy. He's got many good seasons behind him, and many more behind him as well, in front of him as well. You can't trade someone like that who's shown that he can be dominant even on bad teams. And JT Miller, just at his contract at his age, isn't going to age well. He won't. Will he still be a center at the end of this contract? That's debatable. He could be. I could eat crow on this. I'm not afraid to admit it. But I keep Pettersson absolutely 100%. There's nothing I will backtrack on this. I think Pettersson's the guy they have to keep him.
So then is he untouchable for you then, or what?
as close to as you can, but I'm also in a point where I'm okay with both of them going. Just because I've said this before, if you trade one, it could fracture or the locker room where the Team Miller guys are like, oh, I don't want to play now that Pedersen's the guy, or and vice versa. Pedersen gets traded, the Pedersen guy's like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm almost at a like, you're never gonna get anything fair value. Ooh, it'd be great if you get fair value of equal ilk. If Eco Rantanen came here somehow.
No, you're not going to get fair value. That's just with all this talk, especially with JT Miller. I think you're gonna have to sell low. That's just how it's gonna have to be.
Hey, if Chris Drury's still, keep saying this. If Chris Drury's willing to do anything to get JT Miller, Adam Fox 1-for-1, great deal.
No. We gotta talk. We gotta talk realistic here. No.
Chris Drury, listen to me. You want to move? You said you want to move everything. Adam Fox would look lovely here.
All right, let's talk about reality here. All right, let's not talk about fantasy land. If we're looking realistically, like my perspective is too, you probably like JT Miller. I mean, today I'd say he played a better game, but for the last little bit, he's looked pretty checked out. He wants to go. Like I'm sure for Miller and Pedersen, it's hard to play right now. You're
they're human. They
they're
listen
human
to it.
Yeah, that's hard. Like if you're Miller's probably been a while, but if you look at Elias Pettersson, it's like, okay, wow, I was in a serious trade talk. Like I was that close to going somewhere, and that's unsettling.
And all you hear, so many rumors with JT going away, and it's like yeah, it gets to him. He's a human being, and he's got to. If he does get traded, he's got to uproot his family to across the country because he's not going to a Western Conference team. Seems like he's got to move everyone. Him and his two, I think he's got 2 or 3 daughters and his wife. They got to move to the other side of the country. So it's rough on the players like this. They're
for sure.
It's not the regular profession, and it feels like you're getting fired in a way, but you're just being transferred.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I mean, we'll never really fully know what that feels like. They're compensated very well, so you feel bad for them, but not too bad.
He's got 8 points, about 8.6 million reasons why he should be okay with it.
But from reports that JT Miller is welcoming a trade, he wants to be traded out. So
he hasn't been asked to waive his no move clause yet.
Yeah, I don't think that they've gotten close to a deal. That's why. Yeah. You can't go to a player and be like, hey, would you be willing to go to this team? Like, you need to have some kind of deal that you're already considering, and I don't think they've gone that far because it's a.
They're in the talking stage.
They're the talking stage, but Miller's not going to be part of the Canucks. I don't think
they're in each other's DMs, but that's about it right now.
Yeah, I don't think that they're. I just don't. There's no future, I think, for JT Miller and the Canucks. This relationship's been fractured too much, and whether it's closer to the trade deadline or somehow in the summer, if it lasts that long, I think it's got to happen before that. He's not going to be wearing the.
I miss these big blockbuster deals.
I know the salary cap. The salary cap is too hard. Too much money in, money out.
Probably this big was neither Taylor Hall for Adam Larson 1-for-1. Or Joe Thornton back in the day when he went to San Jose for a bunch of spare parts.
Well, that the Tkachuk Huberdeau one that was pretty big. That was a big one. That was a shocker because that was like way past. That
was a summer deal.
That was a summer deal. It was in the middle of summer because it was past like it wasn't the draft. It wasn't free agency. It was like weeks after that. That was a shocker.
It's taken Huberdeau 2 years to recover from that.
Yeah, he's playing better now.
More similar to the Huberdeau that we knew.
Yeah,
the guy that was all on Team Canada, and now it's like, ew, what's?
Yeah,
so that's one person that's like, oh yeah, but he was shocked. He didn't know about the trade rumors.
No, that's a tough one. I mean, from all accounts, Rantanen was shocked too. He was reported as talking to, I think, a Finnish newspaper saying that he was willing to take a pay cut, a discount to stay with the team, and bam.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what the dollar amount. I know Colorado probably has their own internal salary cap saying McKinnon makes this much. I don't think you can make as much as McKinnon.
yeah, there was a reported offer of 11.75
Yeah.
for him, and there was a report that he wanted 14 million,
Yeah.
which is obvious.
But I think
I would
he
understand.
debunked the 14. I think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
with
willing
him
to
saying
come
that.
down for 14.
Yeah, which of course, I mean, yeah, there's no way you're paying someone that much money. 14 is
Yeah.
just too much,
Their
especially
issue
for
is
a winger.
coming up. Makar is coming up in 2 years, so that's
Yeah,
going to be the big one. And
yeah.
he's going to get McKinnon money as well.
Hmm. And more than McKinnon, just for the fact that the cap's going up and the percentage of the cap and all that, he's going to make probably more.
I think teams have set internal caps now that they're going to that they've it's coming around the league like, all right, our best player makes this much, and you're going to come in under that.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many things. There's the you look around the league as a comparable, but you also have to look on the team because it's a tricky one. There's negotiating on both sides. The agents and the team, they're going after different things, and can't say that I'm a good salesman or a negotiator, so I don't know how that goes down. But yeah, that sort of lends itself.
When I play GM, I'll give you money, but I can't give you term, or I can give you term, but I can't give you money.
Yeah. If only it was that easy, though. When you play those the NHL video games, it's a lot easier.
Hey, the players always deserve their money. I will never begrudge a player for taking that much money. I say if it's a bad contract or not, but
that's the team's fault for the most part. They signed it, right? They wanted it.
And I'm always down for a player. If a player gets that much money, like that's a lot of money, but
yeah,
I will give it to the players. I don't pay to watch Jim Rutherford sign checks. I pay the players he pays to watch.
And then when they make mistakes, us fans, we go after their heads, and rightfully so. That's part of the job.
Yeah. That'd be bad though if JT Miller came to my job and said, "What are you doing? That's not how you do that submission. You sent it to the wrong team." Boo.
Yeah. He's gonna slash his stick on your desk, and so.
I'd actually laugh if he did that. Came to my work. I would welcome him yelling at me at my job. I yell at him, and he's at his job.
Yeah, that's true. There you go. Some payback. See, the thing with another stat. So with today, Pettersson got an assist on one of Garland's goal. So that's his third point in January for Pettersson. It's hard when obviously with the reported deal. I think Vancouver's trying to figure out if this guy is. There's no question Pettersson's a good player, all right? Like we've seen him when he's playing well, he's a good player, but is he going to be that $11.6 million player for the next, 4 or 5 years? And I think that's what they're trying to figure out right now, because what they're seeing is like, because I hear people online saying things like, oh, Tocchet's style is not allowing him to play his game and things like that. And there's a lot of valid points. But there's also like with that, like you need a player of his caliber to sometimes take over games, and I just feel like he's a little bit too much on the outside. He's not cutting to the middle. The effort's there. I don't think that he's a guy who's quitting and not trying. Maybe there was a time where early this season, not just him but other players, like there was a lot of frustration and maybe not enough effort. I don't think that's the case now, but it's just
production out of it. Yeah, like he needs some production. As a big PD backer, I think he needs to get a little bit more on the offensive side. Like he's not costing the team any goals on defense.
But for 11.6, it's not about that.
We need more offense out of him too.
Yeah, you have to compare him to, he's paid like a top 5 or 6 winger in the NHL. He's nowhere near a top 5 or 6 winger in the NHL, or center rather. Sorry,
he's not a winger. Yeah, he needs production. When you get the big paycheck, you're gonna have to score.
Or put up points. Even if he puts a lot of assists.
Paycheck too, but he costs as much as he's not scoring, he's costing his team defensively too. That's something that
but JT Miller for sure. But JT Miller is $4 million less. That doesn't make it okay for him to play, on the defensive side like that. But you can't compare that to that, right? I can't compare a performance of I don't know. Just trying to think of something here.
I agree.
$80 mouse to a $40 mouse. You're gonna know that the $80 mouse or whatever it should perform better because it's more expensive.
He does need to perform better, but I'll keep making excuses for him, even though I do want way more production out of him. This is not acceptable for a player of his ilk. But I don't know. It has to be something mental. There. I don't know if there's something going on family-wise that he's just not saying anything that we don't know, that no one's saying anything, and obviously it's none of our business. That could be bothering because how did the switch just go from at last year's All-Star break? He went from probably an MVP candidate. He was one of the 3 stars in last January to this past year of whatever this Pettersson is.
Mm-hmm.
And where did it just disappear? And he was injured, but I don't know if it's still bothering him, but it can't be bothering him that bad because he's producing defensive results, not offensive results, unfortunately. So,
and they would have given him some rest of games if it was something that was lingering.
Yeah,
right at some point. I don't think that's the case. Yeah. If it's something very minor like there's a lot of players that are going through minor things, right? I don't think it's an injury. I think it is mental, but it's also, hey, is this guy? He's had a 102-point season once, right? Like we don't know. I think he's a point per game player. For sure. I think like he's a guy like in 82 games, he could probably put up 80 something, maybe 90 points. But is that 11.6?
He was doing that with no wingers. And now that he has DeBrusk, he does have a winger. So that's why he's like, we should be seeing more points out of him.
Yeah, but DeBrusk too is like DeBrusk. I didn't notice him in this game at all. Like he was.
No, DeBrusk is a
very streaky
player, and right now we're in
doesn't help you as a center. I think to have a streaky player. That's but as a Pettersson, you need to be the play driver, right? You're a center, 11.6, right? And the way I see it, if there was a deal that was good for Pettersson, I would take it. But that's only if it was a deal that made sense for the team. It did. I guess the question goes back.
It's really hard.
It's hard, for sure. To make a deal of that kind of caliber, it's definitely really hard. That's what I wonder. If it was for Carolina, I wonder what would be coming back. It would be similar, or
it would have been net cash for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. With a deal with Miller, with his age and the contract.
No, Nate just is not coming back.
You kind of have to take less. With Pettersson, a 26-year-old center who's
for sure.
Who's been a Selke candidate, who has all sorts of ilk in his covered and proven track record, you can't take as
absolutely
as Miller. You try to even out the Pettersson trade. Yeah, you can. With the Miller loss, it's kind of a little bit of a cap dump in a way. Hey, you take the loss.
Yeah, there's no way that Natchez would ever be in part of a deal for JT Miller. That there's no way. Pettersson, yeah, I can see that definitely. And plus, but do you think Vancouver, if they're trying to make a deal? I think with Miller, you're kind of taking pieces. But if it is a Pettersson deal, are you looking for are you interested in having a first round pick and other players, or do you want no picks and just roster players? Are you thinking more into the future years, or are you looking to hey, I want them to be better next season and the season after?
Depends on where he's going. If I get a really big player, I might not need the first round pick. If I'm getting just above average players, I want that first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
First round picks to me are very valuable, and you take them any way you can. You never know what they can turn out into. 2015, Boston had 3 picks in a row. Took Zach Senyshyn, Jake, I think it's Zaboral, and Jake Lecision. The next 3 were Kyle Connor, Matthew Barzal, and Thomas Chabot. Not that order, but those are the next 3 picks.
Yeah.
Boston had those 3.
And said they're probably. The only good pick that they had was Pasternak, and that was he was a later pick, I think, wasn't he? He wasn't like a top
I don't
pick.
think he was. I don't think he was the same draft.
Yeah, no, he wasn't the same draft for sure. He was earlier.
Those three were in the same draft, back to back to back.
Yeah, yeah, they probably want a lot back. They're not a good team this year, Boston.
Yeah, I'm one person that values the first round pick. I know that sometimes this.
So that's what you do with
management team doesn't value that first round pick as much as they're willing to trade it. Like last year when they traded it for Lindholm, I was okay dealing with it there because lesser draft and they were going for it. Not the best
they were doing good. They were doing good, and they were atop the division. Yeah. They rode your team for their play.
But you can't give them up. It's no Ballard Raymond in a first was a deal that back in the day was every Canuck fan was willing to trade away to help the team. And now I think if something comes with Pettersson going, I think the first round pick has to come back. And there's rumors of him going to Buffalo. If they include Owen Power or Rasmus Dahlin in it, or even Tage Thompson, I'm okay with not taking the first round pick.
The only player that I can see out of those three that you mentioned would be Power. Dahlin is the captain. He's not going anywhere. I don't think they're interested in trading Tage Thompson, a guy that looks to be poised to score 50 goals. But Power I can see because they've got a lot of players in the back end. I've heard a discussion, a couple group chats that like Cousins and Power and maybe something else for Pettersson.
I'll take a first round pick back for that one, and I want this year's first round pick.
That'll be a
Dylan
tough
Cousins
one. This year he's not good for sure.
You're selling low on him. High cap hit, little production.
Yeah. Well, you're probably selling low on Pettersson too, right? Because of his production for 11.6.
At least you're still getting a good two-way center out of Pettersson.
What is Cousins' cap hit?
Whereas I think it's $5.5, $6 million. It's not cheap.
7.1.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I was like, I remember.
And he's got no production out of there.
This year, no.
Yeah,
last year he had 18 goals. He had 31 goals the year before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also hard to evaluate players on Buffalo just because of how bad that team is. It's hard. I'm sure they just, it's sort of like kind of how maybe Pettersson or Miller or some of the Canucks players are just so down on themselves because of the season that it's just hard to produce. Like Buffalo, that's that on steroids because Buffalo is just every year after year after year after year, they're towards the bottom and nothing's changing.
And the curse of Dominik Hasek or something, and it's not like he left on bad terms.
I don't know.
Jack Eichel was going to be the savior, and he was not.
As soon as you leave Buffalo, your career starts to pick up, apparently.
Unless your name is Jeff Skinner.
Yeah. Well, he's
playing on a good team, but he has not helped them out too much.
True. At least he's winning.
Yeah.
He's going to see some playoff hockey for once. I think he's more of a depth guy on their team, no?
Yeah. He wasn't supposed to be a depth guy, but he was supposed to help out McJesus, but hasn't really done anything. I think he's got the longest most games played without a playoff game.
Yeah, wow. I'm just looking at his hockey DB. That's a lot of games.
No playoff games, right?
Yeah, 0 playoff games. 15 years in the NHL. Wow.
No.
Boy, I'd ask for a trade way before that. I'd be like, I need to play. He's 32 and you've never played in one playoff game. This year's going to be his first year.
Yeah.
He's going to be all nervous, and he's 32.
For his sake, I hope this is the first year he gets to play in a playoff game.
Yeah. Well, it will be, unless they
trade
injured or they bench him and they're like, this guy, he's going to play in one.
If there's someone on Chicago they want, they're like, hey, you want to take this money off our hands?
We signed a light contract, right? Wasn't it like 1.5 or something?
Yeah.
That's what's coming to them. Yeah, it's 1 year, $3 million. Signed a 1 year, $3 million contract.
Yeah. That's not a small ticket.
No, not worth it.
Ticket.
Yeah, I'm sure they expected more. Yeah, I think a JT Miller trade is probably going to happen somewhat soon, unless the Canucks go on a run. And I think the Pettersson thing, that's a little more. Don't know if that'll happen anymore. I don't know.
If the two of them can somehow work it out and go back onto superstar level, let's keep them both. But if not,
I think they've already decided. Like Miller is. It's kind of feels like it's been sort of decided at this point, but we'll see. I mean, let's look at the games that are coming up for Vancouver before the break.
They got Dallas coming up, and then
they first have
then Dallas, Nashville, Dallas, and Detroit coming up. They're in Dallas and Nashville and Dallas, and then come home on Sunday to play Detroit.
So if you look at those three games, I mean, Dallas would be the team that would be the difficult one, and the other two
are winnable.
Are winnable, yeah.
But it's the Canucks, so they could go 1-2 or 2-1.
Yeah, they can beat the Stars and lose to the Predators and Red Wings. Yeah, you never know.
They've already lost to the Predators twice this year.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, because for me, look, they're not a contending team. I don't think they're not going deep in the playoffs, but I'd still like to see them make it, and play some playoff games. It's always fun. As an underdog, you never know, right? It's still fun to see what they can do.
I think it's just frustrating to see after the decade of Jim Benning, which sucked the life out of the city.
Yeah.
Just when they were getting it back, this season happens.
Yeah. I think there's somewhere between last season and this season. Last season they overplayed who they are. This season they're underperforming. They're somewhere in the middle.
They were very healthy too last year. This year, cannot say the same.
Yeah, definitely. Injuries and just the dynamics of the locker room. Like, just there's I mean we've talked about it a lot, but we'll see. I also wonder too. Like, let's say JT Miller is traded. How does the team look after that? Are they playing differently? Is it still the same problem?
That big bump, especially Petey. Miller goes. Mm-hmm. Petey better be.
Oh, he better be ready because regular. Because every dart is coming for him. I mean, it's already been hard for Pettersson, but like it's gonna be like on steroids. So that's
even the Petey backer like me will go, oh man, come on, it's time.
Yeah,
I've run out of excuses. Your bully is gone. Like the workplace bully does make it uncomfortable to play and to work in. So if he's gone, that excuse is gone now.
Yeah.
Unless he does come out saying there was a personal issue going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's. We'll see what happens. I think. Anything else you want to talk about? I'm good on my end, but.
Yeah, no. Let's see what's going on. The rumor reel is hot. Let's hope our local Vancouver scribes will break some news for us.
Yeah.
And not rely on the East with their false rumors.
Well, that's how them get it right. It's it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it's going to happen now or if it's going to happen after the tournament, the Four Nations, or if it happens at all. But I feel like at this point, it's better chance it'll happen than it won't. I guess that's it for this episode. You can follow us here and subscribe on YouTube. That's where we release an episode every week. You can follow us on X at the Canucks Chatter. You can throw out our handles there because I can't remember.
Instagram. I'm at some deviant. This guy's at Raf_Douglas.
Yeah. You can follow us there or post any questions or if there's anything you want us to talk about.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button and you'll get a notification when our pod comes out.
Yep. Should be every Tuesday. That's the plan, unless we say otherwise. And we
answer questions. As Nate DiPaolo, a friend of the show, he's answered it. He's asked us a couple questions, and we keep answering them. So
Yeah.
send us your questions. We like fan interactions.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. More stuff to talk about, the better. All right. Catch everybody next week, and thanks for tuning in.
Go Canucks, go.